Hello everybody, and welcome again to another edition of Double Edge Racing's Tools, Tips, Tricks, and Techniques videos. Today we are going to be going over the infamous camber link. Now the turnbuckles are actually not that bad to work with when you have a whole bunch of different tips and tricks that you can use, especially if you have different tools available as well. I will be showing you my preferred way. I will mention what's going on that Ryan Lutz and company use, and there should be a link to that available below as well. That being said, let's go ahead and get started. When we're working with a camber link, there's almost always going to be a length that you want to set them to. I completely ignore that. What you want to do is right here, if you look at the end of this, you're going to see that the threading ends at one spot. I always set the end of the plastic portion to the end of the threads. And by doing that on both ends, I know that I will always have the appropriate length when I start adjusting, because it will be the same amount in both ends. I won't suddenly end up with more threading on one side and have one coming off if I try to make it longer, and I won't have one end bottom out prematurely and just start stripping if I try to tighten it down. Another quick note of that is you can see this little groove here. This little groove should always be on the left-hand side of the vehicle, and you know that your threads are going to be in the same direction every single time. So in this case, on the right hand side, you can see the threads are this direction. So when I turn towards me, or a left hand turn that would normally unscrew things, that's going to put this end on here. Now I like to just use my hands when I'm putting this on, but it's much easier to hold on to the camber link with something like a pair of vice grips. A lot of people have vice grips. Something that I highly recommend. They just make this way easier. Once you do this, you can then just thread this on by hand, and it works pretty easily. It does take a couple tries, and you do want to add pressure while you're doing this so that it doesn't just spin around. But as you can see, we're getting this started here. And now that this is on, yes, it's going to be hard to just keep twisting it and working our way all the way down, which is where most people get annoyed. So there are a few things you can do. One is the common technique of putting something on the threads. A lot of people will use a dab of grease or a little bit of chapstick or rub it on some soap. Those sorts of things work and make it far easier to move the turnbuckle inside of the link ends. But I don't like to do that, because if you're making it easier for it to move, you're also making it easier for it to move this way, and so if you hit something or someone hits you, it's more likely to go out of mesh or to slip and start stripping things. So I just take something like this. This is my MIP driver for my screwdriver. I just take it, stick the end in, and now I can just continue to twist like this, and it'll be nice and easy. Many people will also take something like a turnbuckle wrench, and instead of putting it here, we'll put it on this end. They are flat here, so it fits nice and easy and works. Other people will also take something like the Tekno 17mm wrench for wheel nuts, and we'll stick that over here, as there is a slot there that is designed for the things such as this, and also for the shock tops. But I just do this, screw it on, and I'm going to have something that's the same every single time. This is not particularly hard because I've got a whole bunch of extra leverage with this sticking out. Now another thing that you can work on with this is also the Ryan Lutz method. He will take a driver such as this and just chuck the end of the turnbuckle into it so that he can drive it in and out of the plastic portion. And that frees it up, puts the threading in, and makes it work much easier. My particular chuck for this is a little bit small to do that for the truggy links. but he does have a link to the one that he uses specifically in his video. Again, you can find the link to his video down below. So with this setup, you can see now, even with it not all the way on, this is really hard to move. So it's important that you're using quality tools when you go and adjust the turnbuckle. If you have something that fits loosely and is just some light grade aluminum, you're going to strip it. So do yourself a favor and buy a good turnbuckle wrench that has a wide enough range to fit on here correctly and is long enough to give you some leverage. That will make it still easy to adjust and very hard for it to go randomly out of setting. Okay, so I'm finished this now, and you can see that I'm also making sure that they're the same direction, so that way when it sets into place it'll always be lined up. When you are doing this, it's important that once you put it on the vehicle that you also make sure that you end with your turnbuckles both being turned in the same direction. This will make sure that they are A, lined up, and B, free, so that they can have the appropriate action in the vehicle. Next thing that I'm going to cover is my favorite tool. I use this tool for all kinds of things, but this is the Tekno shock tool, and it does a lot of things. It has so many uses that it's really hard to count, but today we're going to be using them to stick the ball links in. If you happen to mess up and put them in the wrong ones, it's really a pain to get them out unless you have a tool like this to do it. This is going to make it really easy to put them in. It also makes it really easy to take it out if you want to clean stuff up or swap things around. But this is just going to be much easier. So we're just going to take the ball end and put it right in here. And then when we take this, we want to make sure that we line this up. So again, the notch is on the left-hand side. I've already got the right one done, so this is on the left. This is going to be going into the hub, so this is the easier one. Do that, squeeze, and it's in there nice and perfect every single time. Anyway, that's a nice easy way to do this. Hope it helps. Enjoy.